Hi guys, I'm Johnny, and today I'm speaking as the patient, actually. I'm not speaking as a healthcare provider, not your doctor, not an engineer, not a scientist. So I'm going to tell you today about why I'm going bionic. I was born like this a long time ago, and I confronted as a kid this really sort of weird thing with the healthcare system about what it is to be normal and what it is to not be normal, and I interacted as a child with a healthcare system that was all about trying to help me be normal. I spent a lot of time as a kid in a hospital. I'm not an amputee. I was actually born like this, just to be clear. And all of the nurses and all of my physical therapists with the prosthetics that I had were all designed with the idea that my goal should be to be as normal as possible, to actually be as invisible as possible. I used to have an arm that had a hand on it that had a color-matched glove that actually had fingerprints on it. And to me, I thought this was sort of weird because it was like, that's where we're setting the bar. There were a whole bunch of pop references out there at the same time that were about these flawed characters that if they only had that one thing, they could also try to be normal. Edward Scissorhands was just trying to be normal. He just wanted to be loved. But I really wanted to be this guy. I actually wanted to be a superhero. And so I thought to myself, okay, so if we're spending all of this money and time and energy on technology, why does it have to be to make me normal? I want to be Inspector Gadget. I want to do crazy things and I want superpowers. But the technology wasn't there. And I didn't feel like I could change the system around me. And so I let 20 years go by and I started a career. Most of my career has been in sub-Saharan Africa. And I thought to myself, you know, this is just not for me. I'm going to leave it alone. But in that time, things have changed drastically. We have the materials, we have robotics, we have the engineers, we have the software, we have the ability to create outside of the hospital and healthcare system. And it really came to life for me last year when I actually was called on by General Electric to go help them open their first advanced manufacturing facility in Nigeria. I opened a garage facility, and a bunch of tech entrepreneurs in that environment talked to me about creating my own arm. And I thought, this is crazy. And I knew the theory about collaborative manufacturing and open infrastructure and our ability to have global manufacturing teams and our new ability to sort of save on shipping. And I actually started to think about volunteerism. And I started to think about volunteering as, you know, it used to be something like you go clean a park. You're limited by time and space. There's this new digital thing people call it slacktivism, where you still have these sort of physical limitations. But then wait a minute, we're actually talking about a reality, it exists today, connected volunteers with new means of production who are able to leverage existing logistics infrastructure to create really cool things. And what I realized through the entrepreneurs that I was working with was that actually maybe human extension, my own prosthetic device, was not so much about my experience, but about all of the people that I was going to encounter along the way and the lives that I was going to change along the way. And that if we could actually start to get groups together, we could end up with this. A group of middle schoolers from South Carolina who are starting to prototype hands for people they have never met before and might not ever meet. And when we have a reality like that, we also get this. We get totally empowered kids who actually are helping in the creation of their own prosthetics, who do not feel bound by traditional infrastructure, who are free to imagine themselves in space, free of a lot of the things that I felt. So it's actually not the Terminator future that a lot of people were afraid of, and that even I was a little bit afraid of bionics when I was a kid, of what is this, these things people want to do to me, essentially. It's like, what am I going to do for myself now? And so this kid, that's me, this kid actually wants to live in that world. I want the Wolverine arm. I want the play Terminator arm, and I want the superhero powers and strengths that go along with it. I'm over the flaws, okay? So why I care and what I'm doing about it is actually partnering with people who already get it. Companies like 3D Systems, foundations like the Enable the Future Foundation, organizations like Google.org who are investing heavily in collaborative efforts to actually make the world a better place. And what I'm talking about today is actually, you know, this isn't about me and it's not hands and not about arms, but the opportunity to volunteer and get involved and change the world around you to make it physical, it's open to all of us. It's open to every single one of us. And so with this technology, you could really go for it. So I want to invite you to do that with me. I'm actually embarking on my own journey tomorrow. I'm going down to the White House. 3D Systems has printed 100 arms for different kids. I'm going to get engaged in my own process of creating my own arm, and you can go ahead and follow me.